We're pleased to congratulate you on becoming a semifinalist for the Critical Language Scholarship Program. My name is Kirsten Hagen, and I'm the Program Officer for the Arabic programs here at CLS.
And I'm Chris Stiles, Program Officer for Chinese.
One of the most important documents that you'll need to participate in CLS is a valid U.S. passport.
If your host country requires a visa, you'll need to have one before you travel there. You're also going to need a passport before you apply for a visa.
The processes for procuring a passport and visa require great attention to detail, patience, and respect for the process and institutions involved.
But you'll want to beware of mistakes that could cause you to lose the CLS opportunity. We hope with this video to help you avoid such mistakes. Here are a few general considerations you should keep in mind through these processes.
First of all, when documents are requested, make sure to submit them early and don't procrastinate. Documents often require follow-up, so waiting until just before the deadline may not give you enough time to complete necessary revisions.
Secondly, make sure all forms and documents are completed neatly and legibly. Writing or print that isn't clear could cause you to have to redo documents, causing a delay and costing you additional money due to additional shipping expenses.
Make sure you read all instructions carefully and thoroughly. Never hurry through instructions, or you could make a mistake that could cost you this opportunity.
If scanned documents are requested, make sure to use a flatbed scanner or professional scanning service. A photo is not a scan. Save time, stress, and potential rejection of your passport or visa application by doing it right the first time.
Lastly, never make assumptions. If you don't know the answer to something, ask your CLS program officer.
Everyone participating in CLS will need a valid U.S. passport. You may want to consider applying for a passport now if you don't already have one. Although there is a fee to apply, which is not covered by CLS, it can be more costly later if you are awarded the scholarship and have to expedite your passport application. If you decide to wait on applying for a passport and are selected as a finalist, you should contact CLS right away to correspond with us about your plans to procure a passport.
Please be advised, however, that CLS does not secure passports for students, and you are solely responsible for applying for and obtaining your own passport. As mentioned, you will also be responsible for any fees required in applying for or expediting your passport application.
In some cases, it may be necessary for you to expedite your passport application, which means you pay an extra fee to get your passport application processed more quickly. You should ask your CLS program officer if you need to expedite your passport application.
If you already have a passport when you're notified you've received the scholarship, please check the expiration date. If your passport expires within the next year and a half, you may need to apply for a new passport.
Also, check the number of blank pages left in your passport. Most countries require passports to have at least 2 blank pages for visas and stamps, but others may require more. Your program officer will provide you with more information at the time of finalist notification.
If your host country requires a visa, you may be required to send your passport to CLS as part of the visa application process. Passports are generally returned to students when they arrive in Washington, D.C. for the pre-departure orientation. This means you won't be able to use your passport for domestic travel to Washington, D.C., and so you'll need an alternate form of ID that is compliant with the Real ID Act. If you believe you'll need your passport back before the pre-departure orientation for any reason, you should share this information with your program officer as soon as possible after being offered a CLS award.
You'll need to submit a passport-size photo for your passport application, and most likely for your visa application if a visa is required. Passport photos should be professional quality and of the correct dimensions and specifications. In some cases, your passport application photo can also be used for your visa application. Past finalists have had photos taken at CVS, Walgreens, Costco, or other similar services. We strongly advise against taking or printing your own passport photos. Poor or substandard photos may delay your application and risk your losing the opportunity to participate in CLS.
For your reference, here are some examples of passport photos that don't meet the requirements and would result in a rejected passport application.
Here are examples of passport photos that meet U.S. Department of State requirements and would be accepted.
For more information, please visit the State Department's website at the web address shown. You can also find the link below this video.
A visa is a document issued by the government of a country that allows you to enter the country and engage in specified activities. Some CLS countries do not require a visa. However, most countries where CLS programs are hosted do require a visa.
Because securing a visa can be complex, CLS will assist students in navigating this process. CLS will also cover the cost associated with obtaining a visa. However, it's important to recognize that CLS students are ultimately responsible for their own visa application. Note that CLS may not be able to cover additional fees to expedite visas if your application is not submitted on time or if you do not follow the instructions.
Although students are responsible for their own visa applications, they should be completed according to their CLS program officer's instructions. Past participants have had visa applications rejected due to their failure to follow instructions. If you are not able to acquire a visa, you will forfeit your scholarship and not be able to participate in the program. Avoid mistakes by coordinating with your program officer. Do not risk losing your scholarship by trying to procure a visa without CLS assistance.
With a variety of CLS countries comes a variety of different visa application processes. Your CLS program officer will give you instructions on what type of visa to apply for and how to apply for a visa. Invitation letters or letters of support may be required from the host institution for your program, and CLS will help facilitate this process.
As you've applied for a language and not a country, you should wait until you've been notified of your placement before making any inquiries about the visa process.
Program officers may communicate special considerations specific to certain countries. For example, some countries may reject a visa based on visas or stamps from countries or territories with whom they have a dispute. Students with more than one nationality or who were adopted internationally may have their visa applications impacted and should discuss this with their program officer.
Remember that visas are issued by the governments of foreign countries, and it's important to respect this process, as well as respect the authorities who issue visas. CLS has no control or influence over the visa process, nor does the U.S. Department of State. Your best chance at getting a visa is by following instructions as fully and correctly as possible. Make sure your application is neat and legible, and that any requested documents are well ordered and professional. In instances where you may need to interact with visa officials, it is important to maintain respectful and professional decorum. Failure to do so, or getting frustrated and arguing with authorities about the visa process, may result in your visa being refused. Remember also that CLS participants are citizen diplomats, and when you apply for a visa, you're representing the U.S. to a foreign government.
Whether or not you are selected for CLS, we hope that this video has equipped you with the tools and knowledge to help you successfully navigate the visa and passport application processes in the future.
We know that some of what you've heard today may sound overwhelming, but you should know that you are very unlikely to have any trouble at all as long as you heed the advice in this video and follow instructions carefully.
Best of luck in the CLS selection process, and we wish you great success in the future.